Welcome taskers to, I believe, week 4, day 4, the end of week 4. Could have been midway through week 5, but if you all listened to yesterday's video, you all know that, and as I'm sure all of you experienced, the holidays are a busy time with family and friends, gifts, catching up on a lot of things, wrapping up the year. So it's sort of inevitable that I would miss out on some of the videos, but no need to worry. We're back on track, picking up from where we left off, and we're gonna continue doing what we do best, which is for now, walking. Now today, I don't have a script. I mentioned yesterday I was gonna try and get a script for today, but I didn't get time to do one. And I'm gonna explain to you all why I didn't get time to do one, but I'm gonna try to do so slowly, because today we have a 45-minute walk, and because I missed 2 days last week, I'm gonna have to do 6 videos this week, which means a lot of talking. So I have to go slow, I have to pace myself, and I have to make sure I can fill up as much of this video as I can. The only thing that I won't be doing slowly, but I definitely won't be doing too fast, is the walk. Again, if you've all watched maybe early week 4 videos or week 3 videos, you know that my walking speed has increased. It's a little more brisk now. Again, if y'all remember, I believe from week 2, the first video of that week, talked about 10 reasons why you should start a walking routine today. And we talked about what's known as the FIT formula. So each one of those columns represents frequency, intensity, and timing. So we have been slowly increasing the time and slowly increasing the intensity by walking a little more briskly every time we walk, eventually leading to jogging and running. What we haven't increased so much is the frequency. We do about 4 of these a week, so the frequency largely remains the same. All right, so let's get on with today's walk. Again, 45 minutes. Pace yourselves. We have absolutely increased the time since week 1. I think we ended up on week 1 at 25 minutes, which is really cool to see because we know that we've made progress. I know that without a doubt, I have become stronger and more able, at least in the cardio realm. Something that I'm very proud of is my ability to squat just a little bit better. My squatting ability has absolutely increased, which is very cool. It's something I've always wanted to try and do, and I wasn't really able to do it that well before, so it's nice to be able to do it now. Something to definitely keep track of. So I want to apologize for the wind before we get into today's discussion too much. I know I mention the wind all the time. I have actually started looking into one of the mods for the GoPro, which I believe is the media mod. Among other things, one of the things it does include is a directional microphone, which I'm actually not sure if that's the best, because if it's directing straight, if the direction is just like straight ahead, I am in front of the mic, but not directly in front of the mic. I'm like in front and below. If you can imagine that the GoPro is facing outwards on my head, that's sort of what I'm doing. But I think it might be a good thing. It also promises to reduce wind noise by a lot, which I know probably you all are getting a lot of. So that would be something really neat to see, you know, how it improves it. Got a beautiful Jeep coming up here. I know I always mention the Jeeps, but they're just really nice cars. So again, 45-minute walk today. We're gonna take it as it goes. We're gonna see how good we can do in terms of talking points. Again, no script, but I want to talk about creative aspirations. Why am I calling the video Creative Aspirations? Well, there's actually someone that I used to watch. Actually, give me a moment here because the wind is getting pretty bad. And I want you all to be able to hear this. So let me see if I can make a left here on this street. Get a little bit better sound. There's not really anything I can do right now, which is the worst part. I need to walk and I need to record. So please just bear with me. All right, so Creative Aspirations. There's a show I used to watch in Adult Swim called World Peace. It's made by the comedy group $1 Million Extreme. My brother introduced me to them sometime in, let's say, 2011, 2012, I believe. And pretty much instantly fell in love with them. They were definitely my type of humor, my type of art. Very funny stuff, I thought. And they had a season of their show World Peace on Adult Swim. Unfortunately, they were canceled after that one season for reasons I won't dive into. At least any of the reasons they've made public, which you all can read about. So one of the main actors in this comedy group is Sam Hyde. And Sam Hyde also has some content on Gumroad. And I actually subscribed again to that content because frankly I like it. It's very different. And he has a whole video of creative aspirations himself where he talks about, you know, what it means to be an artist, what it means to be creative, sort of good tips for getting there, or even considering if that's something that you really want to do. So I'm gonna give sort of my own thoughts on that, and we'll take it from there. So this is my version of creative aspirations. I don't think it'll last as long as his. His video was 50 minutes of essentially a stream of consciousness. Even though we have 45 minutes, we'll see how it goes. I'll try and break it up and talk about some other things, but let's get started. So I'm a software engineer professionally. That's my career. And I've been doing that for 3.5 years now. And I do love it. I think software engineering is a lot of fun, especially with web development. It allows me to be very flexible, very creative. And the browser is one of the largest platforms in the world, really for anything digital. It's one of the largest platforms in the world, so it's good to have some knowledge about it. So I'm glad that I do have that knowledge. However, programming, while it can be very creative, it is mostly a technical pursuit. You know, at least for the naive, they might look at a website and just see pretty colors and good user design. But for anyone that is a web developer or even a full stack engineer, you all know too well the pain that you have to go through to be able to create a sustainable website. I've actually learned a lot more about this with the practicum course that I'm taking for web development tutoring. There are some things that I have actually learned in that course that I just don't get to learn on the job. I learned some more about cross-browser compatibility, how to sort of use fallback values if things aren't working out in a specific browser, resizing things to fit different form factors, so on and so forth. It's not easy by any means. It's not something that you can necessarily just wake up one day and decide, hey, I'm gonna be a web developer today, and that's it. You have to put the time, you have to really go out of your way to learn. And I'd say it's pretty much that way with anything, right? Anything that's worth learning, you have to put the time. And Sam Hyde, and I think he said that, Malcolm Gladwell said this, I'm really not sure who came up with this number, but you probably, you know, the whole thing about the 10,000 hours of mastery probably rings true in any field. But programming is largely a technical pursuit, and I've been doing it since college, and then again professionally as my career. And especially during this time of coronavirus, and I think this probably rings true with a lot of you all listening, we have maybe seen that we might be interested in other things. And this might have been something that has been sticking in the back of your head for some time, but since you had, you know, the daily grind of the job, you couldn't really have time to think, oh, I think I hear an ice cream truck. That is phenomenal. I've not seen an ice cream truck in years. Hey, that is amazing. I have not seen an ice cream truck in years. Honestly, I did not even know those things still existed. So cool. Hopefully someone stops. Wow. Anyway, what a cool thing, right? Ice cream trucks. It's the van driving around playing music, and you hear that and you know you're gonna get some ice cream. That's phenomenal. Okay, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, so programming is largely a technical pursuit. Been doing that for a while. Kind of wanted to get into something different, and during these times of coronavirus, we've all figured out that maybe we like to do different things, but we've all gotten a little more free time. It doesn't mean that we're not doing as much work as we used to, but maybe since we don't have to commute, you know, that time that we used to commute or get ready, we get all that time back. So it gives us time to do other things that maybe we didn't have time to do before. Even more so right now, at least for me during this PTO period, I have been getting more into some creative pursuits, and I'll say at least 2 of them. So I do consider tasks with me a creative pursuit. You know, it's different than technical programming, anything of that nature, and it's also good for my health. And I get to do some very, very light video editing, which is fun. Get to use iMovie. And when I say light, I literally mean the only editing I do is maybe bleep something out every once in a while, and the little intro that you all see when you start the video. And more recently, my second creative pursuit has been t-shirt designs. Basic graphic design, trying to put things that I like on t-shirts and selling them and see what can come up of it, you know? Dedicating a little bit of time every day, at least for the past couple of weeks, to making some of these and just really seeing where it goes. I mean, I'm of the mindset that, you know, life is short, and I don't really want, I appreciate my job immensely, but, you know, sometimes you just think to yourself that, you know, it's paying all the bills for sure, but I don't want to just be that. I don't want to just be my job, you know? I don't want to just think, oh, I am my job. I feel like I'm much more than that, and because I have the time, I want to take advantage of it and try something cool. So previously I had an account on Merch by Amazon, which was cool. I was actually able to get invited to it, and I have an account on the platform, so if I ever really want to get serious about it, I can go ahead and upload there. The only thing I don't like about Merch by Amazon, as far as I'm concerned, there is no way to customize the storefront. So when I was having to share links with people to get t-shirts of mine, I was just giving them this really long URL, which how are they going to trust it? I'm not even sure if the word Amazon was in there, so they don't really know what it is. There's no branding, nothing, you know, front-facing about that URL. So I hopped onto Teespring, and Teespring so far has been great. Now, mind you, I am not in whatever way sponsored by Teespring. I'm just telling you the facts. Teespring is nice because they handle a lot of things. They have a nice editor, and they also give you my favorite thing, the storefront editor. So there you can have a header, a tagline, a banner, all that fun stuff, and all your t-shirts. So that's what I've been doing. I created like 3 designs today. I upload them to my Instagram, and I also put them on the Teespring store. The Teespring store is called Maybe Probably. Yep, just like that, Maybe Probably. I got that because that's just a term I used to say a lot. People would ask me, hey, are you going to that thing? And I say, yeah, maybe, probably. I mean, it's a maybe, but it's a probably, and that probably means that it's gonna happen. So that's what I decided to name my brand. I think it's cool. I'm having fun with it, and that's really the most important part. I've been designing today for, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours, and I've had a ton of fun doing so. And it feels really good to be in the zone, especially when it's not with something that you're used to doing. So that, for me, just brings a huge smile to my face, and, you know, it gets the creative juices flowing. It's like what I'm doing with the walks. It's sort of like another task, but I don't want to muddy up these videos. I want to stick to the script, so to speak, keeping these to fitness, but I'm doing my own task on the side, and that's to just create t-shirts and have fun with it. Hopefully create some cool designs that people will appreciate and wear. My brother was actually my first customer. You know, I would gladly 100% Carlos, if you're hearing this, if you have any projects you're working on, if you ever need someone to be your first customer, count me in. He has pretty much been my first customer for everything, so I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm excited to see how the shirt's gonna fit on him. It's a shirt that I designed called Mesmerized, that I made on Photoshop. You know, it has, I'm not really gonna get into details, but it's a cool shirt, I think, and I hope that he feels the same. I think he does feel the same, else he wouldn't have bought it. So I'm gonna turn around here because the wind is facing the camera directly. hopefully block a little bit out by doing so, and we'll go from here. So yeah, I have found that at least the walking and t-shirt designs have been a lot of fun, and I am excited to go back to programming, but I think I need to also have hobbies and do things on the side that really stimulate me in a different way than technical pursuits do. Currently it's just me working on these. I don't think I'd like to outsource to anyone. I'm glad that Teespring handles a lot of the work for me. I definitely don't need I don't think I need help from a designer right now. Frankly, I don't want help from a designer. I really want it to be just me working on this, because it's just more individual at that point. Maybe in the future I will. Just depends on how big it gets. I have a couple more designs that I'd like to finish by the end of the week before I start work again. So if I can do that, maybe I can have 10 designs on my storefront, and you know, we'll see where it goes from there. And hopefully people will get some and wear them, and what I really want to see is feedback. I want people to tell me if they like them. I mean, I guess the sales will show that. I've already started advertising on Facebook, which I think is fun. Facebook, by the way, is a fantastic platform for advertising. I mean, with the reach you get from those ads, you can probably get a good turnaround if things work out well for you. So I'm gonna be coming back to that in a little bit, because frankly I don't have anything else to say about it besides that I'm just having a ton of fun and I hope things work out. So I'm gonna switch over to food for a moment because I am starving. I haven't really eaten since breakfast. I'm having a light breakfast these days. Didn't have lunch. I guess it's like a midday intermittent fast. But what I'm really excited for is there's a new sushi spot that opened close to us, and it has 5 stars on Google from 19 people, like a straight up 5.0. Now maybe those people are employees or family, but you know, with a straight up 5.0 from that many people, you can't go wrong. It must mean it's decent, right? And we get 20% off up until Thursday. So I'm gonna use it tonight. I know something else I want to do was get pizza in a place close to me, so maybe tonight I'll do sushi, and then tomorrow we'll do pizza, which is good because then Thursday I'll be with my family and I'll have better food, so on and so forth. So that'll be nice. So I can't wait to get home. I already told Paola about it. She loves sushi. She's real excited. Seeing her smile, I mean, straight up, seeing her smile for anything is great. It's a fantastic feeling. But I love when it's about food, because she doesn't really care for food that much, but when she smiles about food, it's like, man, I made her happy, you know? So that's cool. I get happy. If someone's gonna take me out for food, I get very happy, and I will mostly be happy with anything that I eat. So I'm not very picky. Okay, so I'm gonna switch over again to something else that I started a couple days ago. It was like a list of 250 things to talk about, and we're gonna go from there. So let's look up here. Again, I'm using my iPhone since I recently found out you can do that. So 250 topics to talk about. Let's see what we got here. All right, I think we went over at least one maybe like a week ago, so let's start with 2 and let's see how far we can get. So what do you do to get rid of stress? That's a really good one, because I experience stress. I don't want to say I experience stress a lot. It definitely comes and goes. There are days where I am very stressful, like I just feel my head throbbing and I want to pull my hair out of my head. And some other days, like today, I'm very easygoing. Of course, I'm on PTO. I don't have any responsibilities right now, so everything's pretty amazing. I would say at least one is probably step away from the problem, step away from the situation as much as I can. Sometimes, and maybe this is just a me thing, but sometimes if the situation is so pressing, I can't even get away from that. So if that doesn't work, maybe, you know, take a step back for just a second, take a really quick break, breathe deeply, and, you know, just sort of give yourself reinforcing words of wisdom. Know that you're going to get through it. As you know, there's a saying that one of my colleagues in university said. I remember it helped me out a lot. He just mentioned, you know, for example, no matter what happens, time keeps moving. So I mean, at some point you're gonna be done with it. Like, it will go away. But while you're experiencing it, of course, you're not thinking that. You're thinking about a million and one different things, and it's just hard to really focus. So I would say step away from it completely. If you can't, take a small break, or maybe do something like take a hot shower, talk to someone about it. I think things like this help a lot. Next, what is something you are obsessed with? I definitely have obsessive tendencies. I tend to get very excited about projects. For example, Teespring, the walking projects, little things like this I'll get very excited into. I'll put a lot of maybe money or time into it, and then things will just fall off. Fortunately, it hasn't happened with anything yet in a long time. I think I learned that the older I got. I was aware that that could happen, so I need to, you know, tread a little, and be a little more aware of what I'm doing. Tread lightly, know what I'm getting myself into. So I wouldn't say it's that I'm obsessed with anything in particular, but I get obsessed with things easily, and that's all I focus on. My dad always told me that I had OCD growing up. I was never diagnosed, but I definitely maybe had a little bit of those tendencies, if you will, to be obsessive about things. Okay, what 3 words best describe you? So I took a personality test recently, and if anyone's wondering, I did it on 16 personalities. Let's look up 16 personalities here. If I remember correctly, I'm the mediator, but I just want to make sure. I want to look it up, which would make me a diplomat. Yep, INFP. Poetic, kind, and altruistic people, always eager to help a good cause. So that's how I would describe myself, because honestly, it really does ring true. I don't think I'm poetic so much, but I think I am kind and altruistic, and I definitely feel like I'm always eager to help a good cause, which can sometimes be a big weakness of mine, because maybe I'm too idealistic, but hey, we live and we learn. But yeah, that's how I would describe myself. Not so much 3 words, but you know what I mean. What would be your perfect weekend? My perfect weekend would probably be to go to, was it Cabo? Some place that I was watching, I think like Keeping Up with the Kardashians with Paola or something, and they went to Cabo or Bora Bora, I think it was, and there were these cabins that are just sitting on top of the water. I mean, you can look down and you see the water from your room, and there's maybe like 20 of them, and it is beautiful. I think that might be my perfect weekend, like a Caribbean, like a tropical climate, hot weather, kind of like sweaty all day, but not sweaty because of like I'm working out sweaty, just like sweaty because the doors are open and it's hot and you're just getting that tropical breeze going through, and you know, just sitting back, having some beers, just having a good time in Bora Bora or Cabo, whichever one it is, but any one of those. Super tropical, probably like kayaking, jet skiing, snorkeling, I think things like that. But if not that, I'd say probably go to Orlando or go to Disney World. Go to Disney World, but go to Disney World right, by staying in a resort, you know, doing it big. Okay, what is your favorite number and why? I don't really think I have a favorite number. At the expense of sounding cringy, maybe, I'd probably say 42. 42 because that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And maybe another one would be 2077, because if any of you are watching, I am a massive fan of Fallout. Actually, on a side note, I've recently started a new game in Fallout New Vegas, which I'm having a lot of fun. I realized, I think I walked really far this time. That's awesome. So 2077 because that is the year that the bombs fell in the game, and I think it's cool. It's a cool historic moment in the game's history, in the timeline of that game. I'm gonna be moving a lot around here because I'm trying to avoid the wind as best as I can. Okay, let's keep going here. What are you going to do this weekend? This weekend I'm probably gonna wrap up my PTO. I'll be spending time with family in the early part of the weekend, and then doing some stuff for my practicum job, and then yeah, wrapping up PTO, getting ready for the work week, enjoying the last bit of free time with absolutely no responsibilities that I can until the next one, and just taking it easy. What's the most useful thing that I own? The most useful thing that I own, probably my phone. I don't own too much. I like to consider myself a minimalist. There isn't anything that I use every day so much that I'm like, man, this is just like a phenomenal tool. I don't know what I'd do without it. I'm really not sure. I'd say probably my phone. You know, I remember listening to a podcast from Joe Rogan with Elon Musk, and he was pretty much saying how we already have like a symbiotic relationship with our phones. We're already androids. Like, we've already extended ourselves with AI. It's not necessarily embedded into our system, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, our phones are really an extension of us. But yeah, I think that's the most useful thing I own. What's your favorite way to waste time? Playing Xbox. Playing Xbox, or yeah, playing Xbox, because I guess that's not, it's really not useful in like the practical sense. So yeah, I'd probably say that. I'm trying to figure out where to go from here. There is a lot of, well, there's not too much wind, but there's a little bit of traffic coming, so I want to make sure I'm not getting too much of that. Anyway, what do you think of tattoos? Do you have any? I don't really have an opinion on tattoos. I've always thought that it might be cool to get one, but like a really small one, maybe like behind my ear. Besides that, don't really have any tattoos. I think it's cool, like the people that can like really rock them. I think that's really neat. If I could, I probably would. And I think it also just really depends on who you're exposed to at an early age. Like, if you have a lot of friends with tattoos, you might be inclined to get tattoos yourself, but if not, you probably won't. I've seen some really cool ones. I've seen some ones that are a little less than cool. So yeah, it just really depends. Do you have any pets? What are their names? I have one dog. It's my first dog I've owned. You guys, if you're listening, if you have been listening, you know him a little bit. His name is Sawyer. Wow. I just stepped over a grate in the floor that felt very loose. Again, I'm sorry for the noise. Probably not the best idea to come around through here. I'm gonna try to speak a little bit louder, and hopefully at the end of this vlog I can start going back in the way that I came, where I started, so it won't be so loud. Just trying to talk a little bit louder here. But yeah, so his name is Sawyer. He's a little over a year old. He's a golden retriever, and he has been very fun to raise, but it has also been very difficult raising him, as I'm sure it is for any pet owner. I don't want to necessarily stop talking, but I wonder if that might be the best course of action here. I'm really not sure when I can start making a right again. All right, next question. Where did you go last weekend, and what did you do last weekend? Last weekend was Christmas, so I spent it mostly with my family, and also at some Japanese gardens called Murakami, and home. A lot of relaxing, a lot of chilling. Again, I've said this many times already, but it is my PTO, so pretty much just sleeping and having as much of a good time as I can until we get back to work. What is something popular now that annoys you? That's a good one. It's hard for me to answer that because I feel like I actually don't really keep up with pop culture trends, and it takes a lot to annoy me. So what is popular now that annoys me? Yeah, I really don't know. I might have to skip that one for now, come back to it later. And I'm not sure. What did you do on your last vacation? My last vacation was to Universal Studios. I went with my girlfriend a week to Universal Studios. Also Disney for a little bit. I think that was my last real vacation. It was amazing. I wish I could do it again. I probably will do it again soon. So yeah, looking forward to doing that. Probably won't happen until past the middle point of this upcoming year. So stay in touch, and I'll still be making videos because I think the whole 10K journey will still be going by then. I think we have a neighborhood we can enter in here. Hopefully it gets a little more quiet. Now we have a lot of wind, so I want to keep talking, but I also want to make sure that you all can hear me. So let's see how we can do this. You're gonna have to bear with me because there is a lot of wind. Okay. When was the last time you worked incredibly hard? So any of my creative pursuits are, even though I'm working hard, I don't need them to sustain myself. It's purely for fun. So I would probably say something at work, something like an issue, a production issue as we call it, where we have to very quickly find out how to resolve a solution that's impacting customers of our product. I think I'm going to take a break from talking. Apologies for the wind. I know it's really loud. I can only imagine. Hopefully we will be able to avoid it soon. Give me a second to make a left here, and we will go from there. I'll give you all a little bit of time to sort of hone in on your walk, check yourself, make sure you're still walking briskly. My legs are starting to get a little sore, as I'm sure that your alls might be. Let's check on the time. We're at 31 minutes, so we have about 14 minutes left. We're doing well on time. We still got a lot of questions to cover, so let's hope that the wind gets a little better here. Lesson learned. I got to get that media mod for the GoPro. Okay. Maybe not so good yet, but anyway. Moving on here. Are you very active, or do you prefer to just relax in your free time? I would say that I'm fairly active. I probably do some form of physical activity 4 to 5 times a week. It ranges in intensity. Sometimes really hard, sometimes like these walks, which maybe aren't so intense, but it still gets the heart, you know, a little bit of the heart rate up, and definitely working out the muscles. It just depends on how I'm feeling, how much food I've eaten, things like this. What do you do when you hang out with your friends? When I hang out with my friends, probably go eat or work out, or maybe go to, actually that's probably one of the major things I've done with friends. Oh, we have a dead end here. That's not good. It's not good because we're gonna have to go back towards the wind. Let's see, what can we do here? I might stop the video and come back when it's a little less windy. I think I'm gonna do that, so let me stop the video. I'll meet you all in a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna continue from here. I've gone fairly far. I've actually jogged for a little bit, getting a little taste of the series after this. The wind is pretty bad right now, but I really do want to finish these last 13 minutes, so ooh, let's see if we can't turn around, get a little better. Okay, so I'm gonna keep trudging through here and see what we can get. The next question here is, who is your oldest friend? Where did you meet them? So my oldest friend was Jeremy Mayer, and he was my #1 best friend ever. He unfortunately passed away this year. I knew him for about, I met him in 6th grade, so I was 11, I'm 27 now, so you know, 15 years or so, let's say. Knew him for about 15 years. I was very involved with him and his family, and his brother Jeffrey Mayer, he's also my best friend. We've gone through many things together, and Jeffrey's actually getting married in 2 years or closer to a year, so I'm very excited. He actually invited me to be a best man at his wedding, which I'm very excited for. It's gonna be my first time ever doing that, so that should be a lot of fun. I actually haven't shown him these videos, but I think I will.
or I definitely will. So yeah, I've known both of them for about 15 years or so, and very, very important people in my life. Again, a lot of experiences, a lot of stories. I'm very glad I have been able to be a part of their lives. What's the best thing, worst thing about your work, school? Ooh, maybe we won't get into that one in case any of my colleagues are listening. Best thing is probably work-life balance and flexibility, and the challenging work. That's definitely a positive. I won't go into the worst things, but there aren't many, so that's good. If you had intro music, what song would it be and why? Probably some song from like an alternative rock band. Man, this wind is killing me right now. I hate to sound like a broken record, I'm apologizing, and maybe it doesn't even sound that bad, but I am sorry, I cannot control this. Bear with me. Again, the more important thing is that you're getting your walk in and you're doing it. Don't worry so much about the wind. If you gotta lower me, I understand. Hopefully in the coming days we'll get better quality over here. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. We're evolving, we're growing. This is how we learn. We have to run into these obstacles to get better. What were you really into when you were a kid? Well, if kid is teenager, skateboarding. Very into skateboarding. We had our own team in the town that I grew up in. I made t-shirts, I filmed them. It was so fun editing those videos, and we did it every day for multiple hours. And like at least 8 hours a day we were just skateboarding. So we exercised a lot. I met a lot of very cool people through that. So did that for maybe, I don't know, 7 years or so. So that was very cool, very pivotal in my upbringing, skateboarding. If you could have any animal as a pet, what animal would you choose? I'd probably choose, like a polar bear if they were extremely passive. I'm talking about so passive, like absolutely 0% aggression whatsoever. That'd be super cool, and they'd have to be as big as like a normal polar bear. Not like a mini one. I don't know, that'd be cool. Or like I don't know. Like imagine like a mini killer whale. Like a pocket-sized killer whale. That'd be hilarious. Have you ever saved an animal's life? How about a person's life? No to both. I don't know if I'd want to be in that situation. It's very intimidating. Not saying that I think I would be able to if I had to, but you really got to be able to think on your feet quickly and be very calm in tough situations like that. If you opened a business, what kind of business would it be? I always want to open like a mixture of a skateboarding store that sells like decks and wheels, trucks, you know, all the gear, and also apparel related to skateboarding, and maybe even some designs I do, and also like a small concert venue that would also have like a skate park, a very mini skate park inside the concert venue. Something like that I think would be really cool. Who's your favorite entertainer? Comedian, I'd say probably Sebastian Maniscalco, but more recently Tim Dillon. I love Tim Dillon. I think he's so funny. I feel like I can relate to a lot of what he's talking about, and I've just seen him grow a lot in the past year. Kind of cool to be witness to that. Musician, that's a tough one. My favorite musician, man, that's very hard. I really can't answer that. My favorite actor, this one's not so much that it's hard, I just don't think I've ever really thought of an actor or actress that way. My girlfriend's is probably like Jennifer Lawrence or something. Are you a very organized person? Yeah, I think so. Of course, we all have our messy days, but for the most part, I keep things clean. I guess that's all there really is to say about that. Have you ever given a presentation in front of a large group of people? How did it go? Giving public talks are a huge fear of mine. I get extremely nervous and I'd rather not do it. Probably biggest one I've done is maybe to like 300 people when I used to work at the University of Miami. There was a sort of portal I was working on to onboard new interns into the internship program. It was made in WordPress. It wasn't very difficult, but I sort of presented on how it worked and why we decided to create it to, yeah, about 300 people in like a big boardroom. So it was very official. It's funny because I always get nervous, but I always end up, you know, knock on wood, I end up doing well. So at least I have that going for me. I'm gonna check the time here real quick. 7 minutes, all right. So if I was saying 13 minutes, we have about 6 minutes left on our 45-minute walk, which to me is actually more than an hour, because the part that I skipped out on, I was walking for quite a bit and doing some jogging. So I'm really getting my exercise in for today, really making up for lost time. If you all are still with me, thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate you all joining in on this walk with me. Again, I hope that you all can complete tasks with me, as that's what this channel is meant to be, so that we can all achieve our fitness goals, at least for now, and then any other goals that we see in the future. All right, so let's keep going. I think we were on question 28 out of 250. We got a lot to do. What is the strangest dream you have ever had? I can't like pinpoint one specifically, but a lot of my best dreams include me flying, and it's amazing because I can literally like take off on my own. Like I'll be running and I just jump and I start flying, and I can see the earth from above, which is super cool. So not necessarily strange, but just very cool, and the feeling, like I really feel like I'm flying. That's awesome. What is a controversial opinion you have? I'd rather not talk about any unpopular opinions. I want to keep this channel sort of politics free. Right now I smell some amazing, like that is Cuban food if I've ever smelled Cuban food. It smells like rice and beans, a steak sandwich. I mean, wow, that is so good, and my mouth is salivating because I can't wait to eat sushi. All right, who in your life brings you the most joy? Well, I would say my family, my girlfriend, who is really part of my family, just my close friends. I don't have many people that I consider like part of my circle. I don't care to have a very large group of friends. I'd rather just have a small, intimate group. So my family, you know, my parents, my brother, Paola, Sawyer, those are really the only people that matter. And the best thing is, once you realize that, life gets easier because you don't really have to impress anyone but them. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks. If the people that you love you back, and they're giving you their unwilling support, go for it. I think someone in that house was also filming a YouTube video. Looks like they had a very elaborate setup, so that's cool. People are doing their own thing. That's awesome. Who had the biggest impact on the person you have become? Wow. Man, that is a really good question. Who had an impact on the person, had the biggest impact on the person I became today? Well, definitely my parents. They instilled a lot of great qualities in me from the beginning. Friends wise, I had a solid group of friends in high school. We had a lot of fun. I definitely had a, well, okay, I'm gonna stop talking because the wind is, I don't want to say unbearable, it sounds like too strong of a word, but it's bad. I'm sure you guys can't really hear me that well. We got about 3 minutes here. I might just finish this walk off with these last 3 minutes of silence to hone in on the walk. Apologies for the wind. I'll try and edit the wind out a little bit, especially during these times, so you just don't have to hear it. Again, we'll get to the remainder of the questions hopefully tomorrow when it'll be a little less windy. Thank you all so much for joining in on today's walk. I really appreciate you listening in. If you like this video, remember to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and don't forget to ring that alert notification bell. Stay fit, stay healthy. See you all next time.